every second, every minute. Man, I swear that she can get it. Saying, bad bitch, put your hands up high. Hands up high. Hands up high. Tell them dim the lights down right now.
All right, you guys. So it's been requested that I do an update on my 2.5 years experience on being a phlebotomist. So let's start from the beginning, you guys. So I've had 2.5 years experience in working in the hospital. When I first started, it was rough. It was really rough. It was really fast paced. It was a lot to learn, you guys. A lot of the times I felt like giving up. I wanted to walk out. A lot of times I cried in my car, and I had to ask God for understanding and give me some strength to continue to keep going. When I signed up for the job, I thought that I was just going to go in and just be drawing patients. And this is not for every hospital. We're talking about my experience and where I'm located at, okay? So when I got in and I signed up for the job, I thought that I was just going to be drawing patients and that was it. But that was not the case. When I went through the interview experience and I got hired on, I found out that I will be doing outpatient and inpatient. Outpatient is when the patient comes in, they send in their requisition. They kind of like they do not stay in the hospital. They walk in and they walk out. Okay. If they in a wheelchair, they will in, they will out. They're not staying. That is outpatient. Inpatients is patients that are in the hospital, that are staying in the hospital. Okay. So, when I started working at the hospital, I found out that I was doing outpatient and inpatient. Inpatient also require at my hospital to do the ER, the people that's on the floor, and ICU, sometime pre-op, which is surgery if they give us a call. So we do everything, okay? We also answer phone calls, and we also give out, well, not necessarily, we cannot give out results and stuff like that, but we place in all the information that's needed for outpatient. So if we go get the requisition, we'll put in the information. It's very important that we get the fax number right because all the results and stuff be going into that. So it's kind of like clinic, okay? So it's a clinic, but in my hospital we kind of run the clinic and we run inside the hospital. That was a lot to take on when I first started working there. But it took me about, I'm not going to even lie to you guys, it took me almost a half of a year to pick up to everything that I needed to learn to register it. It was a lot of numbers, a lot of information, a lot of tests. I don't want you to be disencouraged because you don't know all the tests. It is not meant for you to know all the tests. That's why you have Google and you have a nurse lookup book. I also work with texts that I can ask questions. Don't be scared to ask questions. They are there to help you. You will not learn if you do not ask questions, okay? So during that process, I had a notebook. I wrote down everything. Everything that they told me, I wrote it down step by step, okay? Because it had came to a point of time really quick that I was working alone. I believe I did a vlog of me being the only phlebotomist in the hospital. In my hospital, I think it only have it's not a really big hospital. I think you have, I don't know, like 200 beds. And that's a lot just for one person, especially with morning run. Okay, if you come in for morning run, usually at my hospital we work in pairs. So it's supposed to be 2 of us running day shift, and it's supposed to be 2 of you working together at night shift. What happens if someone calls in? You're on your own. We also have something called PRN. Them are people that come in from other locations or they work at your location and they pick up shifts to help out, or, you know, things like that. But what if they don't pick up? You work alone, okay, at my hospital. So that's why it was very fast paced. I had to pick up really quick. That was my first year, just learning, writing down a lot of things and learning my first 6 months, I should say. After that, I knew what I was doing, so it became so much easier, okay? Going in, the best advice I can give to you is just knowing your order of draw and knowing how to stick. The test will come over time. Like I said, you can always look up a test, okay? You can always ask questions about a test. When you go into the hospital, they're going to give you either a phone, or they're going to give you some type of technology object to carry around that's going to give you the color of the tube that you need to draw when you enter the patient room. You do know when you go into the patient room that you have to do your identification, of course. But don't be worried about, oh, I don't know the test. How will I know the color of the tube? You will know the color of the tube because it will state on there the color of the tube and how many tubes should be drawn per patient. So that is something that you do not have to worry about. I believe at every phlebotomy video that I watched going into becoming a phlebotomist, they all had a phone or some type of identification that showed you the patient information and what you were walking into, okay? Also, when you go into the room, if they have any type of note or anything on the door, any PPEs that you need to put on, you are able to ask the nurse what's going on with the patient. Usually in my lab, we have something printed out letting us know what's going on, the precautions that we need to take. But if you don't have that, you're always welcome to go up to the nurse. I know into our phones we can look up the patient, look up the nurse who's over the patient, and we can call them and we can text them. If you can't find them at the nurse station, you're more than welcome to call and text them and ask them, hey, you know, what's going on with the patient, okay? So you don't have to be nervous about that as well. So that was my first year, just learning everything. Going into my second year, it was cool. You know, I also answered to rapid responses and cold blues. Cold blues is also like another type of rapid response. I also answered to traumas in the ER, trauma 1 and trauma 2. You do, when you go into those type of situations, it is we call it a party. It's like a whole lot of people in there, okay? There's nurses in there, there's doctors in there, and there's yourself. My advice is to just stay focused and be prepared. Whatever you need, go ahead and have your gloves on. When I pull up at the patient room, when I get to the location, I'm already gloving up. Because when they look at me and they say labs, I need to be ready to go. You know, I already have my needle. I usually like to go in with a 23 gauge needle or a 25 gauge. The reason why I like to go in with a smaller needle is because I don't know what I'm walking into, and I don't know how small or how big the patient vein is, and I don't want to have to re-stick them because the vein is too small. Okay, so I go in with either like a medium size or a smaller needle, so I can make sure I can be as quick and precise as possible. I always go in also drawing a rainbow for the most part. Sometimes they will let you know exactly what they need, but in a very fast, rapid, you know, situation, I go in basically doing the order of draw. So once I grab those, you make sure that you get the identification of the patient and you get it down to the lab as soon as possible. That's my advice of going to a rapid response. Just stay calm. Go in, focus. It's going to be probably a lot going on around you. Don't worry about what they're doing. Everybody has a job to do, and just know you're going in to do your job. Okay? So once your job is out the way, you're done. Once you're free to go, you can go, send it down the tube station or go to the lab and put in the patient information and put it in the centrifuge. I also use the centrifuge at my job. I just sit it in the centrifuge and I place the tubes at the different stations that it belongs to. Okay. I believe in our lab we have about 5 different stations. I believe we have blood bank, pathology, hematology, chemistry, and we might have one more, but I can't really remember that one. But if we have one more, okay, so you just place it at the correct station, and we have techs that's going to come in and take over. Overall, it has been a great learning experience. I feel like I can go anywhere with the experience and be confident in what I have learned, and I can go far with the information that I have gotten from working in the hospital. I feel like a hospital is great for a first-time job, especially if you want to work in this field long term, because when you walk away from the hospital, I feel like there's nothing that you cannot do. Okay, you have worked with outpatient and you have worked with inpatient. You have worked with some of the most critical patients, which is in ICU. Every hospital don't give you that opportunity. I am lucky enough to be able to work in every situation and gain the experience that I have gained. Okay. Going into my second year of being a phlebotomist, working there, it had become easier, but it became a little bit overbearing at times, because running everything like that can be a lot on you. Okay, I'm not gonna sit here and say it's a walk in the park and everything is roses and daisies, because it's not. Some days can be very stressful. Some days I come home and I'm very exhausted. You do a lot of walking, and the tube station come from all over the hospital. So we answer the tube station. We're putting in the patient information. We're dropping the tubes off in the centrifuge. We're putting them in their location. You're busy from the time you walk into the hospital. Your mind should be clear, and you should be ready to take on whatever task that is handed to you, because soon as you walk in through those doors and you put your information to clock in and to clock in on that phone, it's go time. You're going to have patients to pop up, and it's going to be time to go. But I've gained a lot from it. I do feel like I want to go to a slower pace, only because I feel like sometimes I can be overworked. It can become draining, and you don't want it to become a burnout situation. So I've kind of stepped back a little bit, and hopefully this new schedule that I have is better for me. So I'm excited about that. Day shift overall is a lot, but you can't take away the experience and the knowledge that it comes with. And with that being said, I feel like it's worth it. Do I feel like being a phlebotomist is worth it overall? Yes, I do. In my heart, I feel like if you have a passion for helping people, and you love seeing new things, and you love being busy, and you love learning, I feel like this will be a great career for you. It's a great stepping stone. And also, if you don't want to change your career, you don't have to. You can become a traveling phlebotomist out the state, or you can do it within your range in the city that you're in. Okay, so you can make more money that way. Also, if you do night shift, okay, you get incentive for working night shift. You get incentives for working over the weekends. Okay. Also, working at a hospital is always money to be made, because the hospital never closed. Okay, so you can always go in and pick up extra shifts. That's another reason why I enjoy working at a hospital. If I was working at a clinic, from 9 to 5. When they're closed, they're closed. Your income stop at that 9 to 5 unless you go to another facility. If you're working at a hospital, at least at my hospital, you don't have to do all that. There are shifts that's open. You can pick up and you can help within the facility, and you can make more money if that's something that you want to do. That's a pro about working in a hospital as well, you guys. So like I said, overall, it's been a learning experience. I've gained so much knowledge, you guys. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. I still love what I do. I enjoy it. You know, when I go in, I see things every day. You know, I get to talk to different people, to hear their stories, you know, just to know, you know, a lot of them just want someone to talk to. You know, I've actually did things outside of my job. You know, I've fed patients, you know, some of them can't feed themselves. And I know that I'm not a CNA, but sometimes the nurses and the CNAs are busy, you know, so if you have a heart for it, you know, you can't walk out and see that somebody is struggling with, you know, opening their milk or opening their juice, or, you know, shaking and their food is falling all over themselves. So sometimes if you have a little time on your hands, I like to take out some time and help the patients, you know, if possible. And that just come with the territory, you know, with just having a kind heart and, you know, having passion behind what you're doing. You know, this job is for people who actually love helping people and love being involved. And like I said, doesn't mind stepping up to responsibilities that sometimes that is not yours. You know, having a positive attitude even when the days are hard. And I'm not saying that it's me all the time, because no one is perfect. But having a positive attitude will help your day, okay? It will help you go a long way within this field. Sometimes you have to just shake it off, go to sleep, go to work, and start over. I can say this job is not for the weak. You know, learning how to stick is going to be your biggest advantage. When you're in school, they teach you the basics. When you walk into that hospital, that's where all your skills come in, you know. And when I got into the hospital, I tried to find someone that had way more experience than me. And when I found that person, I followed that person. Even when it was time for me to clock out, I would clock out and they were still on the floor, and I will go with them to each room. That's how I learned to be such a great stick, you guys. I wanted to be the best, you know, and I still have so much to learn. But from my 2.5 years, I can say I'm up there. You know, I walk in with confidence and I walk out with my labs. Okay. It's very rare that I have to call someone to say I need help. Okay. Asking for help is not a crime. I'm not saying that, but you want to be able to handle your business without, you know, calling someone every 5 minutes for help. So I can truly say I'm at that state where I can go in and I can see a really, you know, swollen patient and have, you know, and be okay and have a sense of calmness and just be like, okay, you know, I'm going to figure it out. The places that I have stuck in the hospital, you do not learn that in school. Okay. I have done all type of sticks. Okay. I have done a lot of surface vein sticks, knuckle sticks, wrist sticks, finger sticks, you know, hand sticks. I've done it all. Okay. But that all come with you learning from your experience and learning from others. If you're not confident in that, do not do anything that you're not confident in doing. Okay. We don't want you to mess up your license and, you know, or, you know, for the most part, hurt the patient or hurt yourself, you know. So when I first went in, I was very, you know, fearful of, oh my gosh, I have to stick in the hand or I have to stick in their AC. That's what I learned in school, the hand and the AC. But then when I got in there, I started seeing that sometimes the hand and the AC, it don't work. Now what? Now what are you going to do to get those labs that the doctor is asking for? Okay. You can speak with the nurse. Sometimes they can come in and they can help you as well. Sometimes they can pour from the IV. Sometimes the patients have ports. So it's, a variety of situations that can be going on to why you cannot get the patient blood. Sometimes the patient can be dehydrated. Okay. It's not always your fault on why you had to walk away. Sometimes the patient is combative. I've been into a situation where the patient is swinging, throwing things, spitting, you never know what you're walking into. Okay. So you always have to be aware of your surroundings, and you also have to know no means no. Okay. When the patient say no, they don't want their labs, you cannot force a patient to get their labs. Okay. Make sure you note down everything. That is a big one. Take notes of everything. If the patient is combative, write it in the system. If the patient refuses, write it in the system. If the patient is getting blood work at the time, and if they're getting a transfusion, write it in the system. Okay. If you had to talk to the nurse about the patient, write it down. Get the nurse name, get who you spoke with, put it in the system. Put the time you spoke with them, because if anything shall happen, you want it to be able to back it up, and you want to be clear from anything that's going on so it will not fall on you. That's the number one thing. Write everything down. I don't care how tired you are. Put your notes in, okay? That way, if anything shall happen, you will be okay, okay? So for the most part, that's what I've learned. It's been an amazing experience. I am so excited about the new journey that I am walking into. God has blessed me to see, so much and to learn so much. And I feel the longer I do it, more doors are going to open for me, guys. I do plan on in the future being a travel phlebotomist. Okay. But that's just kind of like down the road a little bit. But I love the hospital where I work at, and I love what I do, you guys. So that's an update. I hope that it was helpful. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Until next time, see you guys in the next video. And I'm out.
Every second, every minute, man, I swear that she can get insanity.